Hey guys, so I wanted to do a reaction to this. It's Palestinian children's television, and I want to see if it's any different to, like our TV programs, where we get like the Gummy Bears, My Little Pony, Spider-Man, I guess. What else do we get? A lot of Disney stuff like Cinderella. So I wanted to see if it's somewhat similar. I'm going to say it's not, because I already kind of glazed through one video, and it's quite horrifying, to be honest. So let's just get into it.
Let's talk about the children of Gaza. I put this report together because I think it's crucial to understand the scope of what's happening. And this isn't to suggest that I don't believe that the children are innocent. Children are innocent. To me, this is the most unfathomable child abuse. I've included many clips in this, far more than what one would normally put in a post on Instagram, because I think it's important to show this is a system that is in place to reach all.
I think it's absolutely child abuse when it's sort of like grooming, isn't it? Where you're brainwashing your child. So yeah, it's child abuse.
The children of Gaza. Many of the clips in the beginning are from a show called Tomorrow's Pioneers. This is a show that's basically the Gaza version of Sesame Street. It's very popular. It's important to know that this came out in 2007, which means that the children who were watching.
And you hear the thing, Sesame Street, it's going to be like learning to count like numbers, and what else did they do in Sesame Street? Come and join us on Sesame Street. I'm trying to remember because it wasn't like one of my favourite shows. I just remember like the Count Dracula, Elmo as well, and the Grouch, those kind of things. And I remember it was all about like teaching morals and your ABCs and counting and things like that.
Watching it when they were around 6 to 7 years old are the current Hamas soldiers. So you can see a direct line of how the indoctrination starts and where it ends. Allahu Akbar!
Wow. Imagine like that looks like a 4-year-old kid or something like that. Like with an assault weapon. And it looks like it's... Yeah, that's nuts. And remember, like, this is a TV show. These are the TV shows that she's showing throughout the years. So the current Hamas fighters that are fighting now, these are probably them when they were children. But this is still going on. These TV shows are still going on. So they say like Israel is only radicalizing the next generation of Gazans. But if this is their TV shows have already radicalized them.
I find it particularly insidious the way that they use puppets and characters to reach the children.
Dear children, we must also know what the criminal Jews are plotting. O sons of Zion, O the most evil of creatures, O barbaric apes. Didn't I tell you that that's in the Quran where they call Jews monkeys? I told you this. And they say that anybody that's not part of their religion are the worst of all creatures. And it's been confirmed. Listen to how angry that little boy is. Jerusalem rejects you and vomits your filth. Now, this isn't recent. This is in the 90s, I believe this one was. Or, sorry, not the 90s. the 2000s. I'm sure she said, I can't remember. I looked it up. I think it was like 2007 or something like that. So, yeah. What does this say? Jihad bestows pride and glory upon you when you become a martyr, when you become a martyrdom seeker. So this is like preparing children to become martyrs, like either, you know, the end your life kind of bombers, or they say it doesn't. I know they're trying to say it doesn't happen, but human shields for Hamas. It shows like that these kids as well, through the grooming of their parents, have said that dying in the case of Jews getting killed, dying to protect the Hamas fighters and stuff, being a human shield, is a glorious death. You know, you're a martyr, which is disgusting. Because you want these kids to grow up and have a full and healthy life, not just be a death shield or a suicide bomber, you know. Yeah. This one, oh, explosive device of glory. With her blood, she created freedom. So they're talking about, yeah, becoming suicide bombers. So what they're doing is, like, what they did, why they had to create the checkpoints, is because before the checkpoints, obviously there was none, and people were just like coming into Israel with these suicide vests on, blowing themselves up, and they were killing everyone that was around them. Because it's not just Jews that live in Israel. There's Arabs, there's Druze, there's just many different types of religions and many different types of races. We will wipe out the people of Zion. And we will not leave a single one of them. Sounds a bit Hamasy to me, you know?
In this clip, we see an animated short of a girl who's taught to throw stones at soldiers.
And she threw them at the vicious faces of the enemy. To throw stones at her with her tender hands. Now, stones can kill people, you know, if they're big enough and they hit them in the right place. And see, to make it out as though it's nice and fancy and flush and all, to throw it with her tender hands, you know. Disgraceful. On the vicious faces of the enemy. And then they've made this IDF soldier look scary.
Now we see a clip of puppets of a little boy who takes over the White House and kills the president by stabbing him.
Why am I not allowed into the White House? This is a little baby beside a puppet. Okay. Because it has been turned into a great mosque for the nation of Islam. Can you imagine, like, the White House, that this is what they're, like, advocating for? So they've got what seems to be, like, a little American kid, because it's a little kid dressed in a little baseball cap and stuff like that, asking this soldier, why am I not allowed into the White House? And then this soldier's saying to this little kid, you're not allowed in because it's been turned into the great mosque for the Nation of Islam. Do you know, I've even seen people on the streets of London saying that when they take over, that they're going to turn Buckingham Palace into a giant mosque. I don't know how Americans feel about this one, like, but yeah, I can't see Americans going down without a fight, considering how precious, like, the White House is to them. Do you Americans that are watching this, do you think you would be happy if your White House was turned into a giant mosque for Islam? I don't see them happy.
أصبح جامع ومسجد كبير لأمة الإسلام والمسلمين جميعا.
What they're saying. Wait. So the kids so the kids, like, went up to. Alright, so I've got this wrong. So the soldier was an American soldier, and the guy's, like, asked, like, why am I. You're not allowed in here, and the little kid's been like, why am I not allowed in here? Because it's now turned into a mosque for the Nation of Islam. The American soldiers not allowing him in, and then the little tiny, like, baby, it's like a baby, afterwards turned round and says, I killed him. So he's just murdered an American soldier because they want to turn the White House into a giant mosque. Again, I can't see Americans being happy with this. What's this? And you, sorry if I get the names wrong, and you, Zakira, what would you like to be? And she says an engineer, which is a good profession. An engineer. Why do you want to become an engineer? So I can blow up Jews. Oh my days. Look at the age of these little kids. Like, they're like between, like, 5 to maybe 7 years old. And their ambition is to, like, blow up Jews.
There's no aspirations about being an engineer for a future that can have some personal meaning. It's all about just killing Jews.
Yes. Well, next time they come, punch them, turn their faces into tomatoes. Just talking about beating Jews so much that their faces are covered in blood. Yeah. And they're using a puppet, a bee puppet, to, like, so it appeals to, like, really young kids. It's like indoctrination. And this is children's TV. Children's TV in Gaza and Palestine. It's not anybody that's radicalising the kids there. They're radicalising themselves. I would, what parent, if you turned this on in the UK, this would never be allowed in the UK for one, or in America, it would never be allowed in America. Would you let your children watch this rubbish if it was, like, against another, ethnicity? So if it was against, like, Spanish or black people or whatever, or white people, like, no. Absolutely not. You'd be like, this is absolutely disgraceful and it's racist and it's teaching your child like to grow up to want to become a murderer. What's he saying here? Rowan, I want to tell him to pick up a stone, and when the Jew comes and take it and throw it. Right, in the neighbourhood are the Jew. Wait, no, that's right. If the neighbours are Jewish, he should beat them up. If the neighbours are Jewish or Zionist, that goes without saying. So it proves, we hear them all out in the street saying, oh, it's just about Zionists, it's just Zionists. No, absolutely not. They're saying Jews, not Zionists. And all Zionism is the right for Jews to have their own ancestral homeland. It's not like a cult or anything. That's all it means. But they're not, they've added the word Zionist in there, yeah, but most of the words are being Jews. If you see a Jew, kill it. If you see a Jew, do this. It's to do with Jews. So we need to stop pretending that these marches like that are all for, oh, the Zionists. Let's stop the nonsense and just be honest. Be honest. You cover yourself with your keffiyehs and your Hamas cosplay outfits, and you claim, yeah, it's just the Zionists. At least be honest. If you're honest and big enough to stand up for what you say, just be honest and say, yeah, it's nothing to do with Zionism. It's because you hate Jews. Be honest about it. People would have a lot more respect for you. At least you were honest instead of lying. Because that's not what the Palestinians are saying. They're not saying, oh, it's just to do with like Zionists. They're literally saying Jews. Says, I will shoot the Jews. And then someone else says, all of them? She said, yes. Again, she didn't say Zionists, she said Jews.
In these two clips, we're going to see how their beloved characters get martyred on the show. The first one is a Mickey Mouse character that gets tortured and beaten to death by an IDF interrogator.
You're calling us despicable terrorists, Farfour. Oh, this is this famous bloody monkey that, mouse, sorry, that they have, the nicked off of Disney, that's called Farfour. He ends up like dying in the end. You R.I.P. Farfour. You racist piece of crap, but. So, yeah, they've got someone dressed up as, an IDF soldier. I don't think IDF soldiers dress like this in a suit. I mean, that's more like the Secret Service, if you ask me, but okay. So, they're calling Farfour a terrorist, alright.
In the next one, we see their beloved bunny die at the Al-Shifa hospital after committing a terrorist attack.
Oh, there's a bunny. Oh, it's mimicking Roger Rabbit. Like, get your own ideas, get your own characters. Like stealing like the copyright of Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. Can you not think of your own like characters? Like here's their little rabbit, little Bugs Bunny imposter, sitting there with a kid after committing a terrorist attack. Literally with oxygen on the nose. Oh my gosh. Yeah, pretending he's down. What's she saying? Victory is near. The soldiers of the pioneers of tomorrow, so this is what the show is, will grow up. Yeah, we know what they grow up to do. October 7th. Allah willing, we will follow the same path. What? Of death? Like the rabbits just died, and this little girl's saying, Allah willing, we're going to follow the same path. Do you know, like, if, there was a famous saying, if the Palestinians loved their children more than they hated Jews, then there would be peace. Like, here's this little girl even saying it, you know? We will follow the same path, which means this rabbit's just committed, like fake Bugs Bunny's just committed a terrorist attack. And he's been harmed in it, or she's been harmed in it because she's pink. And this little girl's like now mad and saying, yeah, the rabbits just died, and now we're going to follow in the same path, meaning like we're going to martyr ourselves as well. Gosh.
There's the phenomenon of the school performances. Many of these are for graduations. This one in particular is from a kindergarten graduation.
Didn't read that
This one is showing a terrorist attack.
Do you know what I love? Them saying like, yeah, all these mums and kids and that are being killed, and yes, it's tragic. But look at what you're seeing here. These are child soldiers. If you're in battle and a child's coming towards you with a gun, who has been taught to kill from the age of kindergarten, nursery school up, and is willing to kill, willing to martyr themselves because they have been groomed and brainwashed into this. Like, what are you going to do? Are you just going to stand there and allow this child to, like, take your life? Or are you going to protect yourself? You're going to protect yourself. Let's face it, you're going to protect yourself. You're not going to just stand there and let someone, like, shoot you in the head. You're not going to do that. And these are children, little children. You imagine like a 6-year-old rocking up to you with like an assault weapon, and you're just gonna stand there and just do nothing, and then allow your life to be taken, and then they're counting in the deaths of the women and children who have been killed, but they're not like factoring in the fact that these children from kindergarten to nursery had been taught to kill. They do practices at school. You've just watched it. Let me rewind it for you again.
Many of these are for graduations. This one in particular is from a kindergarten graduation.
Kindergarten.
This one is showing a terrorist attack.
So these children are practicing doing a terrorist attack, aka like what happened on October 7th. Have you seen an army of like 7-year-olds coming towards you, loaded up with bullets and guns and stuff like that? Any sane person isn't just going to stand there and let themselves get shot. But then the downside to that is the news then reports that these women, they're being counted in with the numbers of like civilians being killed, and all these kids have died. But they don't factor in the fact that a lot of the kids are trained killers. Look at them. They know what they're doing. They're like using, they've got their shields. They're in tactical formation. Yeah, like these kids are being trained. Like, you ask a 6-year-old in Britain or whatever to do to do something. They wouldn't know anything about any of this, you know. To them, like going out and playing on their bike or their rollerblades or their scooters. To get a drink of coffee, sorry. And that's a highlight of their day. But in Palestine, children are being taught how to be terrorists. And again, when there's strikes done on Gaza, these children are then counted in with the dead. That they're counted as innocent civilians. And you can see here, they're not. Now be honest in the comments section. If you've seen this coming towards you, if you've seen these kids coming towards you, and you had a gun and so you were able to protect yourself, they're loaded up with grenades, assault weapons, bayonets, riot shields. What would you do? Would you defend yourself even though they're kids, or would you just stand there and allow them to murder you? What would you do? Because I'm damn sure I wouldn't. I want to go home tonight to my family. When you pick up a gun, regardless of what age you are, and you start firing at soldiers, you automatically become a combatant. So it's hard to reconcile, but it turns you into a combatant soldier. You become a soldier then. You become fair game. So, and I want you to be honest in the comments. Be honest. Would you allow yourself to be murdered by these kids, or would you defend yourself and shoot back? Because this is why Israel's getting into a lot of bother right now as well, because they're defending themselves, and some of the combatants are children. So therefore children are getting killed. But the children are armed to the teeth. Armed to the teeth. So what are they meant to do? Just allow themselves to just be killed. It's a lose-lose situation when, and Hamas knows this, when you're using people as human shields, when you're getting young girls who are 6, 7, 8, 9 to blow themselves up as martyrs, when you've got young kids as young as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tooled up to the max, with all the kit on. And then when they're killed, they're counted in as the civilians. They're counted in as, so many kids have died. But they never report on the fact that many of these kids have been indoctrinated from kindergarten to be child soldiers.
This one is showing the children emerging out of a tunnel, capturing an IDF soldier, and then bringing him back as a hostage.
I mean, look at the position of these kids. They're doing better than some fucking nearing into their basic training than the army.
And in this one, we see a civilian being taken as a hostage and being brought back to Gaza.
God, and look how with ease they move. With ease they move. They just grab that civilian, who's obviously a fake civilian, because they're doing a drill, they're doing practice. With much ease they grabbed that person, and also the person that was pretending to be the IDF soldier. They had him bound and tied and blindfolded and everything. Gun pointed to his head. It's unbelievable.
Start to grow up, the indoctrination continues. These boys talk about their aspirations of becoming martyrs.
He says, are you going to complete Baraz's path and follow his footsteps on the same path? I think this is like to become like a fighter. Yes, I will do just that, and I will be martyred. Gosh, just like he was martyred in Shelah. And look at their proud as punch. Either parent or instructor, I don't know what the hell he is, but these kids look about like 10, 11 years old.
حكم زي هيك حضرني زي وإن شاء الله يعني حستشهد زي ما هو استشهد.
The women. So they say like the women. Let me rewind that.
حكم زي هيك حضرني زي وإن شاء الله يعني حستشهد زي ما هو استشهد.
These are women. Women. With what's that, like rocket launchers or something? I can't see it too well. Yeah. These are women. So I don't want to hear like this. Yes, unfortunately, innocent civilians do die in war. But we have to remember that this is not a typical place. This is not a typical war zone. That a vast majority of it has been radicalized. So when we hear on the news, oh, the X amount of women have been killed, X amount of children have been killed, maybe they need to watch like videos like this and see that the children are militarily trained so well that they can go in and basically grab a hostage if they needed to. That the women are carrying guns and as well as what the hell that is. I can't see too well what that is, but it looks like, I don't know if that's a scope that's on there. It's a sniper. I'm not too sure. But if she'd happened to die during this war, it would, you just hear from the Hamas Health Ministry, she'd be added in with one of the women who had been the innocent civilians who'd been killed, when all along, like, she's a murderer of Jews. Same with the children. And if they shoot back, so like I said, they're in a no-win situation. You don't shoot back, you're dead. You do shoot back, and then the news reports that X amount of women and children have died during this war. But they don't show these pictures, they don't show these videos, that these people are trained in combat. Look at her. You see her with, like, kissing her assault rifle. What's this guy saying? Everyone needs to attack Jews until there will be not a single Jew on this land. He's not saying Zionists. He's not saying Zionists. He's saying Jew. So it's nothing to do with Zionism. It's to do with the Jews. They hate the Jews. And I just wish, like, the marches around the world that are marching for the poor Palestinians who's... I wish that they could watch videos like this to see how dangerous and how well trained in combat the kids and the women are. And the fact that it's not Zionism. They don't care about that. It's about killing Jews. And if they were honest with themselves, they're really smart to use certain words. Really smart. It's like when they done a march for that monster Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader. To get round it, instead of like having Hezbollah on the flags they used the Hezbollah colours, but didn't put any writing on them. So it just looked like a flag of colours, but they were the Hezbollah colours. I couldn't believe in London, they actually had a march, a kind of funeral march for the head of Hezbollah, and to get around the restrictions because it's illegal to support a terror organisation in the United Kingdom. So to get round that, they just created flags and banners with Hezbollah colours on them, without printing the word Hezbollah on it, making it just look like a flag with colours, like I said. And if they were honest with themselves, it's not Zionists they hate, it's Jews. Just be honest. People would have more respect for you if you just were honest, because we all know that you're lying. We all know that, like, yes, some of you have probably got a problem with Zionism. I'm not saying every one of you hate Jews, but there's a bloody large enough percentage of you that do hate them. Be a man about it. Be a man. If you're big enough to, like, go out there and protest, well, I suppose maybe not, because you always seem to cover your face. But your face is covered, so no one's going to see. No one's going to see. If you say, oh, I just don't like the Jews, but these are just, like I said, what they done with the Nasrallah funeral thing, they're smart enough to know that if they say they hate Jews, then they'll probably get arrested for anti-Semitism. Whereas they say if they don't like Zionism, they can. It's basically them saying they hate Jews without them saying they hate Jews. Oh no, it's just the Zionism we don't like. We just don't like the Jews being able to have their own homeland. But realistically, yeah, deep down inside, we do hate the Jews, we just can't say it because we'll be arrested. They find smart ways to get around things. I've noticed it, hundreds of people have noticed it. They think that, they must think that the whole of Britain is stupid when, yeah, we're not. We notice, like, what you're doing. We notice it. I don't understand how the police haven't noticed it, but then again, how can the police arrest someone if they're just putting a flag up with the I don't know, it's just so obvious, the Hezbollah colours, but it never said Hezbollah on it. So they could easily just turn round and say, oh, these are just the colours we picked for this procession. Why even allow them to do a funeral procession for a terrorist leader in London? Why allow it? Why did the police and mayor of London allow that? I'll tell you why they allowed that. Because Britain doesn't own London anymore. The Qataris own London. When I found that out, I almost fell off my chair. How can a foreign government own another country's capital city? I didn't believe it to begin with, so I looked it up myself, and yep, yeah, it's true. It's true. So then it makes complete sense why we have that, as Al-Quds march, that Iran march every year in London. Why the hell are we allowing that to happen? Where women were seen getting beaten up by IRGC members that were protesting outside the embassy, who had to flee Iran because if they hadn't, they would have been strung up on a crane by the neck. And so they've had to flee for their lives. And so they're protesting outside the embassy, and then these big IRGC, these big men thinking they're suaving it, they come out, these are women, they come out and they beat the utter shit out of them. The women go to the police, and what do the police do? I'm drinking my coffee there before I spit it out. Nothing. It makes you wonder, why the pro-Palestine marches are allowed to go on so long with so much rife anti-Semitism inside them. It makes you wonder, why Easter's not celebrated in London anymore. It's Ramadan. And I used to sit and think to myself, how it come, we're sitting in a Christian country, yet, it's all these, this certain cultures, holidays that are being celebrated, but our culture isn't. Especially, one of the most important Christian holidays of the year. And it just all clicked into place when I found out who owned most of London. Qatar. Because they are heavily involved with Iran. They're heavily involved. I mean, they've got Hamas headquarters in Qatar. Where do the Hamas leaders all live? Qatar. Yeah. So it clicked to me. But get back to Palestinian children's TV.
لازم يهجموا على اليهود ويخلوش ولا يهودي في فلسطين. عمليات الدعم.
We need to run them, the Jews, over with cars and then go on a stabbing mission and use weaponry. Remember, what does that say at the top? Mohammed Rashid, UNRWA student. UNRWA. And our idiotic government are still sending money to UNRWA. So this is the crap that these kids are being taught by UNRWA schools. So do not send your donations unless you're a picklehead to UNRWA or whatever they call it. Do not send, because all it's doing is indoctrinating these young kids who should be striving to make their future better, to want to become doctors and grow up and have families and have a good life and stuff, not to become bloody martyrs and murderers. And again, he's a child. And he's talking about, murdering Jews. So if anything happens to him, he's going to be counted again as one of the children that has been killed. When realistically, and technically, he is a soldier himself. The kids of Gaza, they're not like the kids of Britain. I think the likes of Piers Morgan and stuff need to realise that these children have been trained from kindergarten to handle weapons, to conduct terrorist attacks, to capture hostages, that kind of thing. We would love them all to be innocent, sweet, football kicking, I don't know, netball playing, Barbie doll playing little kids. But unfortunately, no, that's not the case. They're taught at UNRWA schools, they're taught to hate the Jews, and they're also taught military drills, how to handle weapons, how to do this, how to do that. Stuff a soldier in the armed forces would be taught.
الاشتباك المصالح في المخيمات.
As the boys get older, they start to enter training camps, summer camps that are populated by the thousands. Some of their graduations are up to 15,000 at a time.
Oh no, these are just kids. These are just kids. These 15,000 little boys they're just kids. And when they die, they just they get put under and the death toll's just sweet little kids who have done nothing wrong. They've done nothing wrong. All they were doing is playing basketball or something, and all of a sudden, they've died, and now all these kids have died, 15,000. Gosh almighty. We have come to the bases of the Al-Qassam Brigade, which is the military wing of Hamas. In order to prepare ourselves to continue on the path of our martyrs. Every year we train 20,000 students in this program. Remember, these are just kids. They're just kids. When the Hamas health industry or health administration does the death toll, and any of these kids have died, any of these boys have died, they're marked down as kids, not as soldiers, in which they are, because they're getting training to become soldiers.
كل عام يؤهل 20,000 طالب في هذا المستوى المحاضرات المكثفة.
They are given intense instruction about evacuation and urban warfare. See how easy they are to blend into the crowds. That's why the IDF are having huge struggles trying to find these Hamas operatives. And again, they are tens of thousands of them are kids, what you'd think is kids. And if any of them are toting a machine gun and try to fire an IDF, soldier, and they're taken out, again, they're just marked down as it's the death of a child. And then you get the likes of Piers Morgan going, but all these women and children have been killed. Piers, watch these videos. Do us a favour and watch the videos of children being taught how to become child soldiers and martyrs. That these aren't just innocent kids playing with toy guns and kicking a football around. They're kids with real guns, real grenades that would kill you faster than you could say your name. They're taught drills on how to grab hostages. They're taught drills on how to capture IDF. So they're taught it all. It's like a specialised SAS, well, not as good as, but SAS camp for Palestinian children. And in my opinion, as soon as you've had like this military training and you've got a gun in your hand, you're fair game. Yeah, you're fair game, because I'm not going to just die because some kid's coming up to me with a gun. I'm not going to just stand there and allow them to shoot and kill me. No way. I want to come home to my family. And yeah, so if it's them or me, I'm choosing my life. Sounds heartless, I know, but that's war for you.
وحرب المدن. أما على الصعيد
What
العسكري
you saying? The students learn to use all types of military equipment. What a shock.
درب القلب على كل وسائل المعدات العسكرية على الصعيد.
They receive training in commando and urban warfare. I mean, these are some dangerous kids.
وحرب المدن والاقتحام.
And that's how you make a Hamas army that can do what they did on the 7th, that can call home and talk about it with pride, because that's what they've been training for their entire life.
Look at that dad, so proud. So proud of his son with his bloody assault weapon. Now there's more videos I could show you regarding children being taught how to become soldiers from a very young age, with their families all watching on, proud as punch, as if they're going through, I don't know, communion or something. Like, look at their mothers looking, oh yay, my son's gonna be a martyr one day. Hip hip hooray. Then you've got this mouse looking character. Then you've got what looks like a drill that they're doing, where they've got some kid in a cage, which I expect is a hostage, with Hamas soldier standing over him with a gun pointing to his head. Or it's either that, it's a hostage. And they're all just like, this is like a fun day out to them. This is like 4th of July, yay! Let's watch our 5-year-old kids handle machine guns and capture a mock hostage or IDF soldier. Unbelievable. Now there's tons of more videos like this, tons of more. I might go through some more in the future, because we're at an hour already. In fact, I will go through more in the future, because there's more that are absolutely more disgusting than this one. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. And let me know in the comments, if you had a child coming up to you ready to take your life, what would you do? Alright. Love you lots, guys. And bye.